Salutations, what's going on YouTube? All is well with you guys. I should adjust that before I hit record. Work's still crazy, so unfortunately the Rat Rod Radio flyer is still about where we left it off. Just with the seat done. I am 99% sure that next week I will get those hubs and I will work on this thing again, I promise. Good news is, work is still crazy, but I'm, cross my fingers, I'm kind of pushing my project team harder now as opposed to the very, very end of the project. We have our second to last deadline for my project is this week. So hopefully yesterday was the last Saturday we have to work. Only had to do 2 Saturdays, which I think is pretty good. And I'm hoping that pays off so that we can all kind of relax and take it easy on the final stretch of the project. I feel really good about where I'm at work. So that all being said, I think I'll be able to get back on the Rat Rod Radio flyer here before too long. So I hope it works out the way I think it will. But one of the things when I set out with my YouTube channel, I was always thinking, the more successful I'm going to be is if I'm at least pretty regular doing this once a week. And I know there have been at least 2 weeks here since I started, maybe 3, where I didn't pump one out, at least 1 per week. So I always try to think of ideas to throw back in the subconscious of what could I do for those weeks when I can't get out in the garage and work. So I'm going to use one of those ideas right now, an opportunity. And this was an attempt for me to help fund mod money, if you will, for the vehicles. Ever since I've been married, obviously you guys who are married probably know how that goes. It's kind of hard to just take normal income money out and stash it away selfishly unless you and your wife have agreed to, say, a certain amount per paycheck. So I started doing this way long ago to help bring in extra funds, and that is take advantage of my my education and schooling and just my interest in cars. And I've always enjoyed drawing. That's why I wound up being an architect. And when I was in school, my degree is actually interior architecture and product design. And one of the appeals was the product design side of things. I remember doing my tour of Kansas State University of the department and seeing people like design cars. I know that was a bit of a stretch because it's not a traditional, say, industrial engineer position or industrial designer or product design degree. So it's pretty light in that department. That was one of the appeals to me picking the path I took. But anyway, no further ado. I have, ever since Overhauling started, right? Chip Foose has sort of been my inspiration. Like, if I had a dream job, it would be, render up some cars with the idea and then just build them. And I'm a pretty traditional kind of muscle car kind of guy, but I've also been the type of, you go to car shows and you see, like, I have nothing against 69 Camaros, fastback Mustangs, 5-liter Mustangs, these Chevy Novas, 69 Chevy Nova, 70 Chevelles, Corvettes. Problem is, you just see them way too often, and so I guess maybe it's because I'm the middle child, one of 3 boys. I was never the oldest or the youngest. I always had to be somewhere in between. And so I've always liked, what I loved about Overhauling was sometimes Chip Foose didn't get the most ideal cars to work with, but I feel like you're a better designer if you can make somebody stop and check out a 1977 El Camino than a 70 Chevelle SS 454. So I've always been intrigued in the oddball years. Once 1973 hit, the muscle car era ended, and it's taken decades to crawl back out of that. I think Detroit's finally getting to that point where like, take a look at what Dodge is doing right now. They are just like, they're hitting it out of the ballpark. The Challenger and the Charger, even to a lesser extent the Dart, pretty sharp little, and albeit a front-wheel drive car, still pretty cool. Um, anyway, that being said, I kind of like the challenge of, if I was ever going to get a project vehicle, I like the muscle car, but what could we have done differently in 1973 to 1977 to help these things out? I mean, the cars, the engineers responded in the worst, most wrong ways with their 5 mile an hour bumpers. Of course, some of that was legislation, but anyway, that all being said, I'll show you a couple examples of my work, and I've got a lot more digital copies of my work. This is kind of trolling for some business, I guess you could say. Um, Although I don't know how I can fit this in right now, but I love doing car renderings, and so here are a couple examples of my work. I didn't have as many physical copies on hand as I thought. I took a couple to work with me, but anyway, here's my first one, which is my rendition of a 1973 Ford Ranchero. Just kind of had some fun with the paint scheme. Put it on like a 18-19 combo. A little exhaust cutout right in front of the rear tire there. But yeah, I don't know. I think 73 Torinos have a nice little front clip to them. The proportions are nice. I did tuck the bumpers so we have a little better looking. Added a chin spoiler kind of air dam thing. So anyway, I think this one turned out pretty good. This was one I just did for fun because it's a car that I could see myself building someday. Um, I've also always wanted to do, I need to do a rendering of it, but like a 66 Fairlane station wagon. I don't know why, I've got a thing for station wagons, I guess. But it's just the availability of, the good cars, like your Camaros and Mustangs, and they're getting more expensive because they're harder and harder to find, so I just feel like there's a car out there somewhere for me that's a well taken care of, a grandma car between 73 and 77 that will be in good shape, and it'll be a little less expensive because it's a little less popular. But anyway, I'll keep going. Some of these, I bought the sketchbook back in about the new year because I kept seeing some cars on Craigslist. I was like, oh, that'd be kind of cool to do. But I didn't want to pull the trigger because I was saving up money for a 4x4 Ranger, which it's a good thing I didn't. But one of the ones that showed up on Craigslist was a 1978 Plymouth Volair station wagon. And, the closer you get to 78, cars start to get a little better proportion, but this was sort of my concept of a 77 Volair, and, all the ideas I had in my head, I even jotted them down here on the side, different wheel combos, but I thought it'd be kind of cool to take. Mopar had some of the greatest graphic combos out there, but I thought it'd be cool to do like their. Well, this particular wagon actually was already blue, so that's why I did that. But I'm a big fan of the flat black hood, if you can't already tell. But I thought it'd be cool to do like a GTX air grabber hood on this thing. But anyway, I thought it could be a pretty neat little car. Another guy out there who's maybe one of my idols in the terms of car rendering world, I'd suggest you look him up. Google the Spirit of 76. The guy's name is Ben Hermance, and for a short moment of time, I subscribed to Popular Hot Rodding, and they're big into the pro touring scene. And they sort of had that same idea that I did, that, hey, you might have a better intro into the muscle car world if you look for these less sought after vehicles. And so they commissioned him, kind of challenged him to what they called the Spirit of 76, to just do a bunch of different renderings of cars that were built in 1976. And the Plymouth Volair, he's got a really cool one up there. But then there's did like a Chrysler Cordoba, a Mustang 2, AMC Hornet. Just trying to think here out loud. Oh, like a Trans Am. Of course, Trans Ams, I think Pontiac's one of the few ones that got it right. Like, there's maybe only the 75 or something, but like all their years from 73 to 77 looked awesome. I would actually say once 78 hit, or 79 when they went with the two square headlights. That's when I think the Trans Am started looking ugly again. Here's another Craigslist car. There was a Ford Granada on there for a while, and so I did a little sketch. And this one on Craigslist at the time, it happened to be white, so I kept it white. But I thought you could do a cool GT stripe, you know, the old Mustangs did. Oh, let's see, backwards. Come on, watch Grant. There you go, right there in the door. Again, surprise, surprise, I went with a black. I guess I should come up with a new trick, chin spoiler. But I thought this, again, I think this car is actually pretty well proportioned. Now, one of the things that's ugly about it are the headlights, or not the headlights, the taillights. They stick out, they protrude from the car. So I was thinking, you know, I bet you could just find like a clear acrylic for these things. You know, maybe like 1/2 inch thick, 3/4 inch thick or something, but polish them, you know, so they're sand them down and polish them so they're really clear, and then bevel the edges and make a pretty nice looking like Euro clear taillight for these things. So that little chamfer would be the only thing that protrudes, but I think that would do wonders for this car. But I don't know, I think it's I know Mr. Mach 1, if you're watching, the Granada's weird because it's sort of like the precursor to the Fairmont, but it's not the Fairmont. It's like they didn't quite shut the Maverick down out of production, but they knew they wanted to phase it out. But the Granada then got phased out by the Fairmont, so I don't know it, and probably for good reasons. But I actually think they're not too bad of a looking vehicle. Again, I think it's got decent proportions on it. You tuck the bumpers, and I think it'd be pretty cool. But that's really all I have on hand at the moment. Oh, shoot. Well, I guess I'll just show you this while I'm at it. This was me sketching up ideas for my logo for my channel. And you can see the one I ended with. I was thinking about doing like a silhouette of an inline 6 gasket somehow, but I thought that got to be too busy way back in the day. And yeah, there's that. But I've got a pretty empty sketchbook. I should probably throw some ideas down. I'm really big into rat rods right now for whatever reason, but I should probably throw some stuff down on Sketch now. That's what this was meant to be for, just as I get these wild hair ideas of what would be cool, even though I can't purchase a vehicle or whatever, get the idea down on paper. So in case I ever get that opportunity down the road, it's like I can revisit some ideas. But shoot, looks like I'm getting close to 15-minute here, so I'm going to shut things down so I can slap in some more digital photos at the end of this. But if you're interested, just drop me a line, personally message me, or leave a comment below, and we'll be in touch. But hey, until next time, peace out.